Season 8 gets underway tonight at the Fortress as the Golden Knights host the Colorado Avalanche. Our preview comes your way next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure that you subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. What time is it, Chris Golick?
Game time.
Game time.
Coffee time.
Yeah, it's coffee time for Golick. So you went to the Implosion overnight, yeah? You went out there with the fam?
We did. It was nice. We parked across the airport in Palomino. Is that what it's called? We talked about that.
I think. Yeah,
we parked in the Palomino lot.
Not the Palomino.
Parked in the Palomino lot, and about 2:25, we got out of the car and had a great view of the fireworks and everything, and it was pretty cool. Another bucket list item checked off in this goofy state.
How many of these implosions have you seen live? Have you seen many?
Oh no, that's the first one. That's the first one.
First one. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Yeah,
it won't be the last one. I think this might be become a Golick family tradition now.
What's next? Which casino is next?
We were talking about that. Excalibur has been dangled to be torn down and demolished for I feel like 2 decades now.
Circus, please.
I think it makes too much money, dude. I think Circus makes too much money.
It does.
It's a business owner's dream. You have it up there, and you put no money into keeping it up and running, and just let it kind of take care of itself.
So I caught up with some friends from out of town and some local folks and what have you too, and over at the Cosmopolitan last night, and we met earlier for some drinks before Implosion Madness. But one of my friends was like, "Hey, this gaming company is doing a viewing party right there, I guess, at the Excalibur. They had a suite where you can see the whole view of the implosion. Do you want to go?" No. It's one of those things here in Vegas. You make one turn and you're out till like 6 a.m. You make the other turn and you go home and you live a normal or semi-normal life.
Right, no normal, but yeah, I hear you.
Let's get to the hockey. Okay, yeah, so hockey. Bruce Cassidy, the hockey. So Bruce Cassidy says that his Golden Knights had pockets of good hockey in the preseason. Yeah. VGK will play against Colorado at T-Mobile Arena tonight. Each team looking to get out of the chute quickly. Something that I am looking for and that the VGK really didn't have much of in the preseason, and that is pace. They worked on pace earlier this week. How important will it be for VGK to play against this high-flying Avalanche team tonight with pace?
That's the thing. I mean, you want to try to go tick for tack with the Colorado Avalanche as far as pace goes. I don't think that's in the Golden Knights' best interest, but like there's a difference between pace and transition. Transition is obviously those quick scoring chances when you go from defense to offense, and then pace is going to be the pace of play. How fast are they getting up and down the ice and things like that? It sounds the same, but it's not. You just got to kind of go with me on that one for a second. Do you want to get in a track meet scenario with McKinnon and Makar? The answer is definitely no. If it becomes a game like superstar against superstar, Colorado will win this going away. They just have a lot more of that type of firepower. This is where the Golden Knights defense needs to keep the pace going at a reasonable level. You don't want to, when the transition is there, go for it. Otherwise, relax, take a breath, take what's in front of you, and don't try and push and rush it, because Colorado will win that game if it's pace versus pace.
The one thing that we've seen out of Bruce Cassidy is that when the team works like at practice, or in this case in preseason, on one area, they seem to be pretty successful, or at least they have some knowledge of what is trying to be accomplished. Early on, they did not work on the power play and the PK, and you could tell, obviously, because they gave up in the preseason a lot of power play goals, right? The PK was not very good.
But the power play was decent. The power play itself was good.
It picked up after they practiced it, right? So when they started to focus on it, on the power play, that's when they did better execution-wise. So they started to work this week or yesterday on situational hockey, 3-on-3 and 4-on-4 attacks, according to Bruce Cassidy. So the things that they work on, they seem to execute fairly well. And when they don't work on those things, those areas in practice, then they're not executing at a high level.
Let's be clear, even with the exit of Marchessault, Amadio, Alec Martinez, Chandler Stevenson, just to name a few, not all of them, this is still a veteran roster with a lot of experience. And yeah, there needs to be practice and develop chemistry. They got to develop that chemistry and everything. It's going to come quicker to this team than it's going to come to a younger team like the Sharks or the Sabres and the Devils and things like that. It's not as much really about developing the chemistry as much as it is just getting reacclimated with Bruce Cassidy's system, which, again, not a lot of change. It should basically favor the defense, favor the goaltending, and hopefully not lead to a lot of transitional and odd man rushes for the opposition. Colorado, very good team off the rush, very quick team. So we're going to see how it works tonight. And you mentioned obviously how things go when the team practices these scenarios and things. Sure, but I mean, 4-on-4 and 3v3, you don't see a lot of that. 3v3 unless there's overtime, and 4-on-4 they actually have a sponsor for it. So that's why I kind of chuckle when you said that. It's the Toyota 4x4.
4x4. That's good.
4. It's good. It's funny, and it gets a laugh. I'm still waiting for him to get a 3-on-3 sponsor. I'm sure the Golden Knights will find a way to monetize that. They should. That's good business.
They only had like 250, I think, sponsors at last check somewhere.
I mean, sure, that's how it works. I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. So we'll see how the execution is in those circumstances and everything else too. Again, veteran roster. These guys know the difference between preseason and regular season hockey. Are they ready? Go back to Monday's show, and you can get our perspectives on that.
We got ripped. We got ripped on yesterday's show, I think. For how are you the positive one all of a sudden?
That's why we got ripped.
Something that we saw, some late action in the final game preseason, the exhibition game against Colorado that stood out. We talked about this some. Mark Stone will have a target on his spleen and his back. Let's face it. Nathan McKinnon, I think, went after him. One good shot there. He's going to have his head on a swivel this entire season because he is a marked man. Let's face it, in the NHL, because a lot of people believe and teams might believe that he cheated the system, what have you, and they know that he's had a bad back and they know that he had a spleen injury. How much do other teams, the opposition, starting with Colorado, go after Mark Stone?
I mean, you go after weaknesses. You go after, it's no different than what happens in boxing, no different than what happens in football. You go after the weakness or what you're going to try and make a weakness out of your opposition. That's just how it goes. And Tony, you were on this obviously in the Dallas series, and the first shift of the game when Mark Stone was booed the entire shift, and anytime he was out there anywhere near the puck. So you're going to see that a lot this year, and that gets talked about in the locker rooms. There might be some money on the board for some circumstances. I don't know how that works in hockey. I know in football it's a little bit different. No, remember Bounty Gate and all that. Can't do that anymore.
I was going to say that's illegal.
But there are hockey versions of that, because I got that confirmed to me from Peyton Krebs when he had there was some money on the board for whoever got the most hits that night. So I'm sure you can do stuff like that. So
that's right. That's right. Krebs,
long story longer, yes, Mark Stone is going to be targeted. It's going to happen during the play. It's going to happen after the play. It's going to happen in front of the crease. It's going to happen out in the open when the refs aren't looking. And Kolesar, he already is the protector of this team. That's the role that he's kind of morphed into. I don't know if he's the best person for it, but that's what his role is going to be. And it's going to be a lot more now. It's going to be a lot more now. And you're going to see Mark Stone take a hit, and you're going to see three players on the Golden Knights, one of them being Kolesar, if he's on the ice with the gloves already down, waiting to go.
So something that I wanted to point out, remember last season, and I know that Cassidy had spoken about this yesterday in his presser, VGK would not play well in games, but would find ways to win. I'm wondering if this team has this character to do that this season, because there were a lot of games last year. Let's face it, they had no rhyme or reason or right to win these games, and they wound up pulling them out in the end. And I'm curious if this team, again, it's an entirely new cast, right? You lose 40% of all your scoring. What is the character of this team going to be like?
Fair question, and I think that starts with who is going to be the new voice to emerge in the locker room. Number one, I've got got a few bucks on Karlsson to be that person. I don't think that's going to make a big difference as far as the season goes necessarily, but that's one of the things right there you're going to need to see. As far as goal scoring and things like that, I saw a lot more cycling in the preseason than I've seen out of teams past. You mentioned winning games that they really had no business winning. You saw a lot more of that in the Stanley Cup season, and you saw even more of that in season number 1. Just the first game that comes to mind, Golden Knights Flames random Tuesday night game. I only know that because it was bowling league at South Point that night, like 7 years ago, where the Golden Knights, I think, were down with 90 seconds to go, 2 goals, and they are down by 1 goal with like 90 seconds to go, and they win in regulation. Like, just these crazy scenarios that just happened because they were a good hockey team. And this year, this is still a good hockey team. Let's be clear about this. This is still a very good defensive core with a lot of superstars among the top, the top 9 in this lineup. And when all is going well, Tomas Hertl is a third-line center. We'll talk about William Karlsson, obviously, in a little bit. So there's still a lot to like here. And as far as what's the character going to be, I think it's got to be gritty, Tony, don't you? Gritty, ugly, imperfect hockey like Cassidy's called this team before, and just finding weird ways to stay in games and squeaking out points when they can. Urgency, Tony. Urgency. That's what the character needs to be. Go ahead.
Yeah. And okay, VGK, they opened the season last year at 7-0. They had that 11-2 or 14-2, whatever that was. Before that, they've gotten out this team to quick starts. And this will be a key because Cassidy himself admitting that he does not want to play from behind. And so they're going to have to get out to some sort of a good start, be it tonight or be it here in the first few games of the season. We want to talk about goaltending because Alexander Georgiev, that guy can be scored on. We've seen that. And you've got Adin Hill, who was very shaky in the preseason. Something stood out to me when I was going back and evaluating some of our notes from this show. Adin Hill, did someone say that they thought that perhaps he might have gotten nicked in that last preseason game? Is that what happened? I remember you alluding to that.
That's what I had thought, and there were some outside observations as well from someone I was talking to, but my perspective was there was a play, and I put this on social immediately when it happened. Like, it looked like Adin, this was in the Utah game, actually, Tony, when I put this out there. So this was the week before. This last game, he was kind of slow getting up, which was another conversation that I had. So we'll see what Adin Hill has going on. And Cassie did talk about the goalies, or just like last season, same exact thing. He has the starts scripted going, for about the first month.
Yeah.
But it could change based off of performance. There's not a lot of back-to-backs, Tony. Hey, schedule's not rigged, Tony. Not a lot of back-to-backs, so you're going to need to see. I mean, what did Coach Cassidy learn last year? We're going to find out. He's got 2 goaltenders who can hopefully chew up starts and obviously give productive games and productive minutes. Needs to be as close to 60-40 as possible in favor of Hill, at least early on, and see what you got. If that starts, going towards 70-30, that might help get some wins early, but we've seen what happens to Adin Hill when he's overworked. We saw what happened to Logan when he was overworked. Thankfully, Logan still found a way to stay in the net, whereas Adin did not. Let's just call that what it is right there. So we'll see what happens there. And Samsonov, I mean, he can chew up starts, but doesn't, he also likes his off days. So a lot of weird things happening there in net right now.
And Akira Schmid,
he might be the best goaltender of the bunch, Tony. He might be the best goaltender of the bunch, honest to God.
But he got shelled in the preseason game, right? I think he gave up 3 goals the other day. Henderson.
Henderson isn't known for defense, Tony. Henderson isn't known for defense. You mentioned Georgiev at the start. He was a .302 goals against and an .897 save percentage. That definitely supports what your perspective that Georgiev can be scored on, by the way.
Oh, man, they can score all over him. And
VGK got a 6th spot with the Henderson Silver Knights playing against him the other nights.
All right. Coming up next, VGK opens the season here for the first time in franchise history, -1 William Karlsson. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Lars and Lars bars. We'll return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Gametime has a new feature. It's called Gametime Picks, and it makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks, it actually filters out all the fluff, and it shows you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to go and waste time as you search through all of these thousands of tickets, and there are plenty of them here in Las Vegas. Good place to get Raiders tickets for Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I saw a lot of folks talking about Gametime yesterday. They've got some curated deals. It makes it easier to find the best price on great seats. The super deal, the seat views before you buy it, lowest price guarantee. They've got event cancellation protection, job loss protection. They've got a lot of benefits here. Lowest price guarantee on Gametime. They will credit you 110% of the difference. And the Gametime ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account. Use the promo code LOCKDOWNNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem code LOCKDOWNNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it?
Gametime.
Gametime.
I got it before you.
Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco and Bleary-eyed. Bleary-eyed, is that a term? Chris,
is that a song? Is that a song?
I don't know. Okay. Fresh from the watching the implosion of the Tropicana Hotel last night. I have friends in town that flew in to see this. This is crazy. One of my DJ
it was cool. Friends. It was worth it. I mean, I don't know if I'd fly in from out of town, but it was fun. It was a lifetime experience. It really was
pretty cool. So that's gone.
That said, if anyone sees me tonight at T-Mobile, the back of section 217, coffee, cream only, no sugar. Thank you.
All right. Nothing in it though. No, not a shot of something. No.
No, no warm alcohol drinks. I do not like at all. No, God, no.
Okay. Of course,
Fridays. Bring a shot on the side. I'll down that real fast, but
okay. Fridays
just one.
WTF. There you go. Fridays are WTF. Saturdays, the Chris and Chris Jr. Show, the YouTube exclusive. Subscribe there. VGK will have to play this opener without the services of one of the original Misfits. And in fact, talk about implosions. The entire Misfit line is gone. You like that tie-in? I know where it's going to head there. So Riley Smith, of course, was traded a couple of seasons ago. Jonathan Marchessault left on pretty much his own accord. And then you have William Karlsson. He is on the IR now. First time in team history, no Misfit will be playing on opening night. And Bruce Cassidy had said that Karlsson had been skating on his own last week. Remember this? Oh, yeah, he's skating on his own. I don't buy that. Because yesterday in his presser, Cassidy said, once Karlsson gets on the ice, then we'll be able to evaluate when he will be returning. Thoughts on Lars and his absence, and how do they fill in for William Karlsson?
To be clear, no forward Misfits will be out there. You still have Theodore and
no, the Misfit line, though, the original.
Right, the Misfit line is RIP, rest in peace.
All right.
That's fair. No, I mean, listen, Karlsson, I said this last year, and I said it recently. Karlsson's injury, I believe, was the difference as to what could have gotten the Golden Knights over the hump against the Dallas Stars. I think a healthy William Karlsson sways one of those games. I think it's worth one game, one of those three games that they lost. So that's how I feel the importance of William Karlsson is. And you saw the way the lines open, and then obviously the lines changed throughout camp once the injuries came. And I think Karlsson probably did skate, honestly, Tony, and one of two things happened. One, there was a setback, or two, he realized his injury definitely was not chilling. I'm saying it like that because I don't have confirmation it's a hammy, but I'm assuming it's the same exact thing he had going on during last season. And this is a concern. This is we've gone from, okay, if he's not out there for opening night, then we'll start to be worried about this and we'll see what happens. And now we're at that next level. William Karlsson is gone for at least a week now, And if he's gone a week until the moment he gets back on the ice. So every day he's not on the ice, you have at least a week until you're going to see him out there. Maybe he misses 4, 5, 6 games. No big deal. He has a productive season, plays 70 plus games. Life is good.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
he does.
as we know, 30 goals, 30 assists last year. His 30 goals last season was more than the previous 2 years combined. So 60 points. And he had a fantastic season. When he was absent at FanFest, I knew something was even up again.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
We've been charting this story, and neither one of us, when we heard he was first injured, it's one of two things. It's a recurring injury, or it's still residue of the injury from the end of last season. How could he not have healed by now?
Yeah, no, and you wonder if that surgery word's going to be thrown around, or if there was a surgery, Tony. I mean, or if Karlsson was the additional mystery surgery that you were alluding to a few shows back. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure which side I want it to be on. I'm not sure if it's better if he had a surgical procedure and now he's healing, or if he needs it now. Either way, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And, when Cassidy's talking, you listen for clues. And again, I'm not knocking Cassidy. All teams are very secretive when it comes to, their competitive advantage and what they say through the media with respect to injuries and stuff. But when you hear things like, we're calling it day-to-day for now, he'll be reevaluated, or he left the game, it's never good, we'll reevaluate later. Things like that don't add up to a player returning right away. It was kind of a mystery with him skating for 1 or 2 days, and all of a sudden he's not. So he's definitely gone backwards. At the earliest, he'll make his debut, next Tuesday or next Thursday on that road trip, or maybe even in Florida, who looked wonderful. Florida looked really good last night. That's a scary team who came shot out of a cannon, and shout out to the linesman taking a slash, and that was all sorts of mayhem last night too.
That was pretty fun to watch that game last night. And, so let's talk about how this void of William Karlsson will be filled, at least initially, for VGK. And I have to point out, okay, so the media got duped again. They're telling us in a lot of their tweets and in stories and such, it's no big deal. No big deal. Karlsson should be back for opening night. Everyone is buying into this story. Everyone, right? Or at least that's the narrative that the team told them. He'll be okay and he'll be our starter there. I did say over the summer, who will be the mystery injury that won't be playing on opening night? Because there's always someone, right? There's always some player that will be out for VGK on opening night. The other thing they got duped on was this Ron Bjork nonsense where he was already etched in stone, not etched in Mark Stone, but etched in stone to be starting tonight. So they got duped across the board. Oh, where were we?
I saw people having Zach Aston-Reese making the opening lineup too. So trust me, I get what you're saying, and that was a pretty higher ranking person inside the VGK world.
Bad takes. They're around the team every day, Golick. What should we believe?
So talking about the lines and stuff for a second here, talking about the lines and stuff, the Nick Waugh wing experiment has derailed again. He's back in center, which is good. He's better as a natural center, but now the concern is when Karlsson comes back, now Nick Waugh has missed the last 10 days of training camp preparing as a winger, which is the ultimate goal here for Coach Cassidy. So the third line, here's where things get kind of weird. So number one, Savoie, who was claimed, was immediately sent down to Henderson. Is Edmonton or anyone else going to claim him? And obviously, Savoie will no longer be a part of the lineup. That leaves one roster spot open now, maybe two with William Karlsson's situation. I don't see a path where the Golden Knights are going to roll out there with Cole Schwintz on opening night on that fourth line and maybe elevating Pearson. Brendan Brisson was sent down to the American League. We saw that because he has waivers. Right? What's that?
If he comes back up, I win my bet that he'll be on the opening night roster.
I think Brendan Brisson gets the call up today because you look at how they practiced. when they practiced 2 days ago, you had WA between Olofsson and Brisson. So I don't see a complete shakeup of the entire bottom six happening in favor of getting Cole Schwindt out there, who has not even practiced with the Vegas Golden Knights yet, to the best of my information here. So look for Brisson to get called up. It could end up being Ron Bjerg if they want to just go on the fourth line and elevate Pearson up to the third line. But I think Brisson gets the call up, and he will be on the opening night roster tonight.
That'd be pretty interesting. Okay, give me one player that you think might be an early season flop, and one player that might exceed expectations. I will start off. The early season flop definitely goes to Olofsson. Great shot. Okay, great. Do something with it. Put it on net, bro. And then, of course,
he's not getting the shot off. The puck didn't find him in the preseason.
I think the surprise might be Tanner Pearson. I'm going to go with Tanner Pearson because everyone else is on that. Well, how about you? Just early season.
I mean, Olofsson is the chalk to flop, but I'm gonna go Pietrangelo. I didn't like his preseason. I think there's concerns on that line, and
that line is
on that pairing. Pardon me, it's a defensive pairing. Someone corrected me on YouTube. You're right. I'm wrong. Okay,
it's a pairing. We called it a pairing.
I called it a defensive line once. Oh my god. And it's fair. That's fine. I'll take that. I throw punches, so I can take a punch too.
About that. Okay.
No, it's fine. So Pietrangelo, I think, is going to slow down a little bit. I think Nick Hague is actually going to be the stud of the defense this year. I'll go with that. But on the forward side, someone who is going, I hate to say Dorofeev because I don't think it's going to be a surprise. I don't think it's going to be a surprise at all. Let's let Hurdle surprise all of us.
Would be surprised if he.
I've liked his preseason. I've liked his puck management. I've liked everything we've been told about him when he was acquired in the playoffs. We saw in the preseason to a degree, and now it's going to go to another level with the regular season starting.
When we return, it is the return of our locks of the night. We'll get to that.
I'll try and track it this year. I'll try and actually track it this year.
You did okay for like the first couple of days last season.
The middle third is bad.
We'll return with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. That's a good one. FanDuel Sportsbook. It is the official sports betting partner of Locked On Golden Knights. And of course, if you go to FanDuel, you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. There is so much sports action happening right now. This is the equinox of all sports, with the NBA about to get started, and we've got football, we've got basketball aplenty, and now the NHL, they enter the conversation. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats. You can go to the live view of play-by-play, and there's so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Again, you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You need to check it out. Go to FanDuel.com. Why? Because it is America's #1 sportsbook. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting.
Coffee never stood a chance this morning, by the way.
It's gone, right? Yeah, I kind of figured that. And that's a trooper to go out all night. You pull the Cardasco. That's what we call it. You just stay out all night.
Yeah, I got a couple naps, and then I actually slept in the afternoon yesterday after we dumped off some money on Water Street in the casino.
In the casino? Which one now? Which one?
We had lunch. No, we had lunch at the Pass. Actually, breakfast, I should say. And then hung up there for a little bit and popped through Rainbow and left.
All right.
Not good.
So did you get you have like a gaming card there? And for your $2 bet, you probably get a lot from the Pass, right?
Pass, actually, I don't know if we should be giving all this pub to them, but I will. If you have a card, they give you a real good deal on their breakfast and stuff.
Okay. No, that's fair. Why not?
Jackpot breakfasts. We got a guy. Let's get them on board as a sponsor.
All right. The Jackpot breakfast. We need that today.
Good.
Okay. It is that time. It is time for Locks of the Night, much anticipated. So the way that this works is we pick each a couple of players from VGK, and then we give you a final score prediction. So I will go first today, Mr. Golick. My goal scorer.
Age before beauty?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I would just say beauty before everything else. Dasko versus the world. Ivan the Great Barbashev, I'm going to take. I'm taking Barbashev, and I'm going to take Alexander Holtz for some reason. I think he'll score. You know, the one thing that affects the totals on this game, folks, William Karlsson. No empty net goals tonight, perhaps. But they're going to need some empty net goals because I have Colorado defeating VGK 5-3. Last I looked on FanDuel, it was an even Steven proposition there. VGK and Colorado each minus 110. Will we see some late betting action in either direction? Perhaps it will favor VGK on home ice. The total was rather high, and it was 6 and a hook, right? 6 and a hook. So I'm going to go 5-3 Colorado. They have, I think, a more potent offense, and I think they're going to score some goals tonight. How about you, Golick?
Real fast. I think the early betting is the homer betting, and the late betting is the sharp betting in that like 90-minute window before the game. So whichever way the line goes, if it moves, hockey pools don't move a lot. It takes a lot of money to move them. If it starts moving one direction, that's where the sharp money's coming in. I think Colorado actually finishes as a small favorite when the puck drops. 3-2 Avalanche. I'm with you. I'm just not feeling it tonight. The Golden Knights have had a lot of luck, not a lot of luck, but a lot of success on opening night. And, you know, at some point that needs to run out. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad season if they lose tonight, but 3-2 Avalanche, but I'm going to go Stone and Dorofeev. Stone, I think, is a man possessed this year. I think he's going to not allow the Golden Knights to fail in every opportunity that he can. And Dorofeev, Scorofeev. That's what we're going to call him. That's what you see on Twitter right now, Scorofeev. So we'll see what type of season Scorofeev has. That's a lot of what's the word for each syllables? It's a lot of syllables.
A lot of syllables. Yeah.
Ooh, Ivan. Did he make the roster? Are we going to see Ivan tonight?
He did make the roster. Yes.
Nice.
I was looking for that. Ivan.
Is there a song called Ivan? Like, can they chirp him with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No, have fun with that. But Bruce Cassidy kept talking. What did he? It's new to the bingo.
I didn't watch it. I should have watched Cassidy.
No. It's new to the bingo card. The amount of times that Cassidy will be mentioning puck luck this season. He's not a puck luck sort of guy, but he kept talking about puck luck yesterday. So I have to see if they have any puck luck tonight.
He uses puck luck as a valid, not excuse. That's not the right way to say that. And
circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, he uses it in an invalid form. He doesn't use it as a crutch. That's the better way to say it.
He said it a lot, though, yesterday. He said it a lot.
Right, but he's very fair when it comes to usually on the defensive side when goals are, being allowed by the Golden Knights goalies and stuff. You'll hear him say, we didn't get the puck luck, they did, and stuff like that. So he's usually pretty fair when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to the chemistry and stuff like that, I don't want to hear it.
The Utah hockey team joining the Vegas Golden Knights as the only two teams in the past 30 years that have won their franchise opener. So congrats to Utah.
They both won 5-2 their inaugural home game, so the league is definitely rigged for
it's rigged.
It's definitely rigged. It's definitely rigged. That's how that's supposed to go, right?
We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially
happy opening day. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's
exciting. It's exciting.
Especially our everydayers.
I think we lost Tony. We lost Tony at the end. A dream come true for Golden Knights fans. All right, I'll take this thing home. Thank you to all the everydayers who check us out. You can catch us Monday through Friday on YouTube and anywhere you get your audio podcast, and the Chris and Chris Show on Saturday. For myself and Tony Cordasco, who is apparently frozen in time, thank you for tuning in and take care.